This is Jacob Carey standing beside the Lake Ainslie Pullman sleeper in 2015. The Lake Ainslie is one of the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum's most historically significant passenger cars. This classic Pullman sleeping car, built between December 1923 and early 1924 by the Pullman Company, entered service on February 9, 1924. Like most Pullman sleepers of its era, the Lake Ainslie was originally owned and operated by the Pullman Company and used in pool service, meaning it could be assigned to multiple railroads depending on demand. After the United States versus Pullman Company antitrust case, 1940 to 1947, Pullman was forced to divest its operating fleet. In 1948, the Lake Ainslie was sold to the Southern Railway, which then leased it back to Pullman for continued operation. The Southern Railway retired the car in 1966 and donated it to the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum soon afterward. A historic photograph shows the Lake Ainslie as delivered to the museum in November 1965, indicating the donation process began before formal retirement. Why it's significant. It represents one of Pullman's most standardized and widely used sleeper designs. It provides a true example of early 20th century Pullman travel when passengers sought quieter, more comfortable overnight accommodations compared to crowded coach seating. Museum volunteers have since worked to restore lighting and interior features, preserving the car as a teaching piece for Pullman-era rail travel. The Lake Ainslie was built by the Pullman Company between December of 1923 and early 1924, entering service on February 9th. It was constructed as a 10-section, 1 drawing room, 2-compartment car. The car was built as part of Pullman Plan number 3585 and lot number 4728. It was one of 244 cars in a series collectively known as the Lake Series of sleeping cars. The car was originally built without air conditioning, which was later installed on June 19, 1936. The configuration, commonly called a 10-1-2, refers to the fact that the car has a layout consisting of 10 open sections, one drawing room, a bedroom with its own private lounge, and 2 compartments. There is a large men's lavatory with a separate saloon or toilet annex located at the end of open section. On the opposite end is a large women's lavatory with its own saloon. In the 244-car Lake series, the Lake Ainslie was the first alphabetically. The cars' names came from the names of actual lakes located within the United States. Every letter of the alphabet, with the exception of X and Y, were used at the beginning of the lake names. Most letters were used multiple times. The last alphabetical car name in the series was Lake Zurich. As with other Pullman cars of its generation, the Lake Ainslie was built to be a Pullman-owned and operated car. It was generally kept in pool service, although it could typically be assigned to the same trains or railroads on a fairly consistent basis. Following the United States versus Pullman Company antitrust lawsuit from 1940 through 1947, the Lake Ainslie, like its sister Pullman Company cars, was sold to the owning railroads. In the case of the Lake Ainslie, it was sold to the Southern Railway in 1948. In turn, Southern Railway leased their Pullman-built cars back to the Pullman Company to operate them. In 1966, Southern Railway elected to retire the Lake Ainslie. It was donated to the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum around 1966. The Lake Ainslie is a valuable museum piece because it is from one of the largest series of cars that Pullman constructed. The Lake Ainslie's floor plan is one of the most standard floor plans Pullman offered. It serves as a true example of Pullman train travel in the heyday of rail travel. In the early days of rail travel, people were only willing to travel so far sitting in a coach seat surrounded by dozens of other, often noisy and frequently unruly passengers. Travel by Pullman allowed passengers to choose semi-private or fully private accommodations to allow them to sleep comfortably while traveling great distances.